Trump has a history of staging events and photo ops. He is, after all, a reality TV star. He knows how to make a TV moment, and it would seem that that's exactly what he did when he visited a Harlem bodega between court appearances in Manhattan.
Wow. People are chanting USA here. Pretty incredible. Here's Donald Trump walking in. What a round of applause for the former president. Long day. It's unbelievable.
Harlem and the surrounding areas, Spanish Harlem, Washington Heights, they're all on the northern edge of Manhattan just before you hit the Bronx, and the population there is predominantly Black, Hispanic, and Democratic. I heard it's actually getting gentrified now, so that might change, but for now, that's what it is. But any presidential hopeful hoping to win over the non-white vote has to at least attempt to win favor with the non-white community. For Trump, that means venturing into territory where presidents and former presidents and presidential hopefuls are rarely ever seen in the real world.
They're chanting 4 more years on the ground here in West Harlem. Who would ever think that Trump would have chance in the inner city of the upper Manhattan area of Harlem?
However, Trump doesn't live in the real world, and he never has. So even his campaign stop at a Harlem bodega was manufactured and entirely inauthentic.
You stay around here. Stay around here. Oh, you've seen some action lately, huh? Sure. That was great action at the bodega. Right?
Now let's be fair. Little of what presidential candidates say and do while campaigning could be considered authentic. At best, we might get something from a hot mic. The fact of the matter is that they simply are not authentic people. They're politicians, which almost by definition precludes authenticity. They're shameless opportunists who literally have to sell themselves to a voting public. Of course, they are desperate to be liked by as wide and as diverse a demographic as they can muster. So the Daily Beast had a headline about the bodega visit saying it should, quote, scare the heck out of Democrats because, quote, there were jeers but also cheers. The overall point of the opinion piece was that Trump may be more well-liked in traditionally Democratic areas than the Democrats are willing to admit. One onlooker said, quote, I was amazed to see him, just to see what everyone jokes about. His hair, the color, it was kind of breezy. According to the piece, Francisco Marte, head of the Bodega and Small Business Group, reached out to the Trump campaign asking what Trump can do to help with crime in Harlem. The Trump team invited him to Trump Tower to speak with Trump, and he replied that he would rather Trump just visit him at a bodega. He saw it as a historical moment, the first time a president has ever set foot in a bodega. And that's kind of sad when you think about it. It speaks to how far removed our leaders are from the communities they serve. Again, to be fair, Trump is not a typical political leader, but he is a lifelong New Yorker. Maybe he set foot in a bodega prior to becoming president, but let's be real, he probably hasn't. How this man somehow managed to convince the voting American public that he's one of them, I will never fully understand. One onlooker said, quote, I saw some women upset, I saw a lot of people happy, and a lot of people who seem confused. That sounds about right. She also commented that Trump looks like he lost some weight, which is great if true, but he probably lost some of that weight due to all the stress he's under from all of his court cases.
That guy's got a serious weight problem. Go home, start exercising.
The part that might actually worry Democrats is this. The woman mentioned that according to her own personal perception and lived experience, crime in her part of town is worse now than it was back when Trump was president just 4 years ago. According to Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg's office, overall crime in Manhattan is actually down 6%, with shootings down 39%, murder down 23%, and robbery down 3%. The woman, like many Americans, attributes her personal struggles to the man all the way at the tippy top, the President of the United States. She, like many Americans, doesn't seem to think about the issue, its causes, its solutions, etc., any more critically than just blame it on the president. It's like when people blame the economy on the current president. That never made much sense to me. Obviously, there are things that a president can do to affect the economy one way or the other, and obviously the economy is a very complicated and complex entity, but generally speaking, for the most part, the economy is separate from the executive branch. And there's a lag effect. If a president enacts legislation or reforms that somehow benefit or deter the economy, those changes probably won't take effect in any meaningful way until after that president is out of office, which results in the successor getting to take all of the credit or the blame, respectively. The other part of the story, however, is that a lot of the cheering crowd members, a lot of those happy people the woman was referring to, they were plants. And that's not a conspiracy, they said so themselves. The pro-Trump New York Young Republican Club, or the NYYRC, took credit for organizing the event, and many of their members were seen leading those pro-Trump cheers and chants that the Daily Beast reporter was referring to. Aldo Solares, a member of the club, said that the club's members were the ones leading the crowd in singing the national anthem. They also led the crowd in chants of 4 more years and USA. In other words, the response to Trump at the bodega was not necessarily representative of that particular community's overall feelings towards him. Regardless of whether or not any of it was quote-unquote real, though, even Trump, like every other politician, knows that, no pun intended, appearances trump reality. It doesn't matter that these Black and Hispanic people may or may not have actually lived in the neighborhood they were seen in. It doesn't matter that they were deliberately working to increase Trump's attractiveness to certain communities, the same communities he's disparaged time and time again. All that matters is that social proof, that social validation that happens when people see people they otherwise align themselves with embracing something they were otherwise against. And I'm not saying that Black and brown people or even entire communities can't like Trump. Of course they can. I just hope it's not because they were tricked into doing so. Also, of course, the Biden campaign should be nervous. Of course, they should be worried about losing voters, even or especially voters from those communities that the Democrats have maybe taken for granted. The truth is that both parties are currently being run by wealthy, straight, white men. Minority groups are going to align themselves with whichever of those two men seem to be looking out for them more and better. The labels, Democrat, Republican, they don't matter. People want a leader who will make their lives better than they were and not just use them as political pawns or statistics. All right, that's it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and check out my podcast, Modern Context. Thanks.